Election will be held today in Georgia to fill Tom Price's vacant congressional seat. Of course, Tom Price became President Trump's Secretary of Health and Human Services. Democrats have helped raise more than $8.3 billion for candidate Jon Ossoff, $1 million for Jon Ossoff in hopes it snatches a seat from Republican control. Even President Trump weighed in, tweeting, quote, Democrat Jon Ossoff would be a disaster in Congress, very weak on crime and illegal immigration, bad for jobs, and wants higher taxes. Say no. For more, I want to bring in Kevin Cirilli, Bloomberg's chief Washington correspondent. It's not in the billions, it's in the millions. Still quite a bit of money there in this race. Why is it attracting so much money? What can a race like this portend nationally?
Well, you know, it would send a signal that the Democrats heading into the 2018 midterm elections have momentum. And this is all about momentum, and it's a low-cost loss should they not win this runoff election, because quite frankly, no one really expects them to. I think when you look at the demographics of the district, it's an affluent Republican-controlled district in the suburbs. And so it could be a way for them to send a signal, again, heading into these midterms, that this is something that they will be able to carry forth with momentum.
Kevin, what does this race tell us about the political composition of Georgia? I remember going into the presidential election, there were a lot of Democrats who thought, kind of late in the game, that they finally had a chance here of turning Georgia blue, or at least a very deep shade of purple. What's the hope here when you look at the sort of political future of Georgia?
Well, I think it also, that's a great point, because when you look at it in the broader context of the internal ideological fight playing out right now within the Democratic Party, this could be battleground zero. Here's why. When you have the likes of people like Senator Elizabeth Warren as well as Senator Bernie Sanders arguing to take the party in a much more progressive left-wing socialist route versus some of the more centrist moderates within the party, people like Senators Joe Manchin, Senator Heidi Heitkamp, this, of course, is the type of state where that argument really could be at the forefront. And it's also an argument that is going to be repeated over and over again as we head into 2018. And ultimately, of course, as the Democrats try to find an alternative for 2020.
All right, I read one tweet there of several that President Trump fired off regarding this particular race. What is this, when it comes to this being a litmus for the sort of political temperature of this country? Is this a candidate who wants the embrace of Donald Trump at this point? When you look at the polls, how helpful can it be to get tweets like that from the president?
Can be very helpful. And I think that also this is a president who misses campaigning, to be honest, David. I mean, he's got enough on his plate. He hasn't even reached 100 days, let alone had a legislative victory in Congress yet. And so, with the exception of maybe some would argue the Supreme Court pick, but you know, even that didn't have the nuclear, he had to deploy the nuclear option politically. But regardless, again, this is all about momentum. It's all about messaging. It's all about Democrats trying to fundraise and again, rally the troops for 2018. No matter what happens, it doesn't really matter.